Good communication is the bridge that turns ideas into action. The ability to speak clearly can open doors you never imagined. Every day, we face conversations that matter. Some are quick exchanges. Others shape careers, relationships, and opportunities. Many people struggle to express themselves with confidence, and that struggle can hold them back. What if you could change that starting today? Learning how to communicate effectively is not about talking more. It is about being understood, connecting with people, and gaining clarity in every interaction. Great communication transforms how people see you, how they respond to you, and how far your influence can reach. The words you choose and how you deliver them determine the impact you have. This video will teach practical, everyday ways to improve listening, speaking, observing, and interacting. You will learn techniques to build confidence, connect deeply, and express your ideas clearly. Every section focuses on actionable steps you can use immediately. If you are ready to take control of your conversations and make every word count, then stay focused because this video will guide you to master your communication skills. Number 1, listen actively and focus fully on the other person. When it comes to communication, everything begins with listening. Listening is not just hearing words. Listening is giving your full attention to the person in front of you. It is noticing their tone, their pace, and the emotions behind what they are saying. You have to be present. Stop thinking about your response while they are speaking. Stop letting your mind wander to other worries or distractions. Give them the room to speak and feel understood. When you focus fully, the other person senses your attention, and that builds trust. Human beings have a deep need to feel heard. When someone speaks and feels ignored, they close off. But when you listen with sincerity, you open doors to connection and influence that cannot be achieved. Listening actively means more than nodding or saying small words like yes or I see. It means engaging with your mind and your heart. You watch their expressions. You notice when their voice shakes or when they pause. You catch subtle changes in emotion. These small details tell you much more than the words themselves. You begin to understand not just what they are saying, but why they are saying it. This is the difference between two communication. Active listening allows you to respond appropriately and thoughtfully. It allows your conversations to go deeper. It allows relationships to grow stronger. One of the most common mistakes people make is thinking communication is about speaking well. Speaking is important, but without listening, your words have no impact. People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Listening creates that feeling of value. It makes people feel respect. When you focus fully on another person, they feel a connection. They feel that they are being taken seriously. This is the foundation for influence, leadership, and meaningful relationships. You do not have to be a naturally charismatic speaker. You do not have to have a booming voice. Listening fully can create the influence you seek more effectively than any speech ever could. To develop this skill, you have to train yourself. It starts with small steps. Put your phone down when talking to someone. Turn your body toward them. Look into their eyes. Give them the silence they need to finish their thoughts without interrupting. People are often surprised by how few conversations actually involve full attention. Most conversations are half-focused with one person already planning the next sentence. You must resist that habit. When you listen fully, you give the other person a rare experience of being understood completely. This is a skill that separates ordinary communicators from extraordinary ones. Focus requires mental discipline. The mind naturally drifts. Thoughts about deadlines, problems, or what to say next can distract you. The key is to notice when your attention wanders and gently bring it back to the person speaking. This is not easy. It requires practice, awareness, and patience. One technique is to repeat silently in your mind a word or phrase from what the speaker is saying. This anchors your attention. Another method is to imagine their words, creating a visual picture. This strengthens your focus. Each conversation is an opportunity to improve this skill. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to give your full attention without effort. Listening fully also involves understanding emotions. Words convey facts, but emotions reveal truth. People express feelings through tone, pauses, volume, and even body language. When you notice these signals, you can respond with empathy. You can mirror understanding, ask thoughtful questions, or simply acknowledge their feelings. People respond to acknowledgement. They respond to validation. Your ability to focus on these cues transforms ordinary dialogue into meaningful communication. You show that you are aware not just of what is being said, but of what is being felt. This emotional awareness deepens connection and opens opportunities for learning from every conversation. Another aspect of active listening is patience. People need time to articulate their thoughts fully. Resist the urge to finish sentences or rush them. Silence can feel uncomfortable, but it is essential. Pauses allow them to process and express their ideas completely. When you allow silence, you demonstrate respect and understanding. You give them space to share their perspective without pressure. Many conversations fail because one or both parties are impatient. When you focus fully, you cultivate patience. And patience allows understanding to emerge naturally. Active listening also requires humility. You cannot assume you know what the other person is thinking. You cannot impose your ideas while they speak. Let go of judgment and preconceptions. Approach each conversation with curiosity and openness. Ask clarifying questions if something is unclear. Seek to understand before seeking to respond. This creates an environment where ideas can flow freely. People sense when you are genuinely curious. They open up more readily. You gain insights that would be missed if you only focus on speaking or defending your perspective. The physical presence matters as well. Your posture, eye contact, and facial expressions communicate that you are fully engaged. Lean slightly forward. Nod occasionally. Smile when appropriate. These gestures reinforce your attention. Listening is both mental and physical. Your body language tells the other person you are present and invested. When your words, mind, and body all align and focus, your communication impact multiplies. You become more persuasive, more trusted, and more respected. You must also resist the temptation to multitask. Many people think they can listen while scrolling through messages, planning tasks, or thinking about the next meeting. That is not listening. That is partial attention. True communication requires 100% presence. When you listen fully, you are giving a gift to the other person. You are telling them that they matter in that moment. This approach is noticed and remembered. It separates effective communicators from those who are heard but not felt. Your ability to listen fully influences how people perceive your character, intelligence, and reliability. Finally, understand that listening is a skill that grows with consistent effort. Each conversation is practice. Each interaction is a chance to refine your focus, patience, empathy, and presence. You will make mistakes. You will lose focus occasionally. That is normal. What matters is returning to the principle of full attention each time over time. Active listening becomes natural. People begin to seek your presence because they know they will be heard. Your influence increases, your relationships strengthen, and your ability to communicate effectively becomes effortless. Mastering listening is not just a technique. It is the foundation of personal and professional growth. When you apply this principle, you create a powerful advantage in every area of life. At work, you understand colleagues and clients better. At home, you deepen relationships with family and friends. In social settings, you create rapport quickly and genuinely. Listening fully gives you access to information, emotions, and intentions that are invisible to those who only speak. It allows you to respond with clarity, precision, and impact. The more you focus on listening, the more natural it becomes to lead, teach, guide, and listening fully is not passive. It is active engagement, the cornerstone of influence and the heart of meaningful communication. The habit of full attention also improves your confidence as a communicator. When you understand the person completely before responding, your words carry more weight. You avoid misunderstandings and miscommunication. You speak from knowledge, not assumption. You build trust quickly. People notice when you respond with insight that comes from listening carefully. Your reputation grows. You are no longer just another voice in the room. You become someone people seek for clarity, understanding, and guidance. This is the power of focusing fully on the other person. Active listening also strengthens your emotional intelligence. By observing and understanding the emotions behind the words, you develop empathy, patience, and awareness. You begin to see patterns in behavior and communication that allow you to anticipate needs and respond thoughtfully. This skill makes your interactions smoother and more effective. People feel supported and understood. They feel that they can rely on you for clarity, compassion, and sound judgment. Your communication evolves from transactional to transformational because you are fully present in every moment. As you practice listening actively, notice how it changes your life. Conversations that once felt tense or shallow become rich and meaningful. You start to understand people more deeply. You notice details that were invisible before. You gain information that others miss. Your influence grows because people trust and value your attention. Your confidence increases because you are responding from understanding. Rather than assumption, active listening is not a skill you learn once. It is a lifelong practice that shapes how you think, respond, and connect with others. Listening fully also requires you to manage internal distractions. Thoughts about yourself, judgments about the speaker, or planning your next move can all reduce your focus. Notice these thoughts, but do not engage them. Bring your mind back to the speaker gently but firmly. With repeated practice, focusing fully becomes automatic. You create a mental habit of attention. People sense this effort. They respond with openness, honesty, and willingness to share more. The quality of your communication rises exponentially when your mind is fully engaged in the conversation. When you master listening, you also improve your ability to ask meaningful questions. By paying full attention, you know exactly where clarification is needed. You can ask questions that deepen understanding. You can guide the conversation in a productive direction. Questions become tools for connection, not interrogation. This creates a flow of dialogue that is natural, engaging, and educational. The other person feels valued and heard, and you gain insight that would otherwise be lost. Listening is the foundation upon which every skill of effective communication is built. Your presence during listening has power. People unconsciously measure your engagement through your actions, tone, and focus. When you are fully present, they are more likely to open up. They share thoughts, ideas, and feelings they would not otherwise reveal. You are creating a safe space for honesty. This leads to clarity, trust, and influence. You cannot achieve this through talking alone. The act of focused listening transforms relationships and communication in ways that speaking cannot replicate. Every interaction is a chance to practice and grow. Begin with small conversations. Commit to giving undivided attention. Notice the difference in how people respond. Observe their facial expressions, emotions, and reactions. Reflect on what you learned from each conversation over time. This becomes a natural approach to every dialogue. You become known as someone who truly listens, someone who adds value through presence. This is the first step toward mastering communication. Active listening is not optional for those who want to lead, influence, or connect meaningfully. Finally, recognize that listening is a choice. You choose to give attention, to notice emotions, and to engage fully. You choose to set aside distractions and immerse yourself in the conversation. This choice demonstrates respect, intelligence, and discipline. People sense the difference immediately. They respond with trust and openness. When you focus fully on the other person, you are not just listening. You are creating understanding, influence, and lasting relationships. Listening actively is the foundation of all effective communication. It is the single most powerful tool you have to connect, inspire, and grow in every area of life. Number 2, speak clearly and choose words that create understanding. When it comes to communication, clarity is the single most powerful tool you can develop. Speaking clearly is not about having a loud voice or impressive vocabulary. It is about being understood without confusion. Every word you say carries weight. When you choose words carefully, you remove doubt, hesitation, and misinterpretation. People naturally respond better when they know exactly what you mean. Clear communication signals confidence, intelligence, and respect. It shows that you value both your message and the listener's time. Speaking clearly is not optional if you want your ideas to make impact. It is the foundation of influence in every conversation, presentation, and interaction. You engage in the first step to speaking clearly is understanding your message completely. You cannot simplify what you do not understand before you speak. Organize your thoughts. Know the key points you want to convey. Avoid cluttering your speech with unnecessary information. Each sentence should have purpose. Each word should contribute to understanding. People are naturally distracted by overcomplicated speech. When your words are simple and precise, your audience can focus on your meaning. This is especially important in professional settings. Clear communication prevents mistakes, aligns teams, and builds credibility. Choosing words that create understanding requires awareness of your audience. Use language that matches their level of knowledge. Avoid jargon, abbreviations, or terms that require explanation. Consider how each phrase will sound to the person listening. Imagine the scene as if you are seeing their eyes and noticing their expressions. Do they look confused or engaged? Adjust your words in real time to enhance comprehension. This skill comes from observation and practice. When you speak in a way that others can grasp instantly, you create trust and connection. People feel included when they understand you easily. This is an emotional response that strengthens relationships. Pronunciation and pacing play a critical role in clarity. Speaking too quickly causes words to blend together and meaning to be lost. Speaking too slowly can make people lose interest or think your message lacks energy. Find a natural rhythm that allows every word to land. Pay attention to the sounds of your words and their cadence. Emphasize key points without exaggeration. Pause between ideas to let your message settle. These simple adjustments transform ordinary speech into powerful communication. People notice when you speak with intention and control. It enhances the value of every conversation. Using examples and concrete terms enhances understanding. Abstract ideas are often confusing. When you explain a concept, use simple comparisons, relatable examples, and specific details. Describe actions, outcomes, and practical steps. This allows the listener to visualize and internalize your message. Avoid vague statements. Be precise in describing what you mean. Clarity is not just about grammar or enunciation. It is about making your ideas easy to grasp. Your listener should leave the conversation with no question about your meaning. That is the mark of effective speech. Confidence is inseparable from clear speaking. When you doubt your words, your listener senses hesitation. When you speak with certainty, even complex ideas become easier to understand. Confidence comes from preparation and practice. Rehearse your main. This does not mean memorizing every word, but knowing the structure of your message. When your mind is organized, your speech becomes fluid and coherent. People respond to clarity backed by self-assurance. Confidence and clarity together create influence that is undeniable. Another element of speaking clearly is avoiding filler words and overcomplicated sentences. Words like, or repeating phrases dilute your message. They distract the listener from the content of your speech. Short, complete sentences are more powerful than long, winding explanations. Each sentence should express a single idea clearly. Use transitions to connect ideas logically. This makes your speech easier to follow. When people do not have to work to understand you, they pay attention to the content instead of struggling to decode the language. This increases your impact and authority. Listening while you speak is another critical skill. Notice how people react as you talk. Are they leaning forward or looking away? Are their faces showing comprehension or confusion? Adjust your language, tone, and pace. Based on these cues, communication is a two-way process. Speaking clearly requires constant feedback. People will tell you with their expressions, questions, and engagement. Whether your words are working, respond to this feedback immediately. Clarify when necessary. Repeat key points differently if needed. This dynamic interaction ensures your words achieve the intended effect. Clarity in speaking also means structuring your message logically. Begin with a strong opening that outlines your main point. Follow with supporting details that are easy to follow. Conclude with a concise summary that reinforces your message. Organizing your thoughts externally mirrors internal clarity. Your audience can process and remember your message more easily. Random or scattered speech creates confusion and frustration. Structure gives your communication a rhythm that guides understanding naturally. This skill is essential in presentations, meetings, and everyday conversations. The tone of your voice is equally important as the words you choose. A monotone delivery can make even simple ideas difficult to understand. A dynamic, intentional tone emphasizes meaning and engages listeners. Subtle changes in pitch, volume, and speed enhance comprehension. People pick up on emotion and intent through tone. If your message is important, your tone should reflect clarity and purpose. Speaking clearly is not only about the words themselves, but also about how those words are delivered. The combination of precise language and controlled tone creates a compelling presence. Preparation is a key factor in creating understanding. When you are clear in your mind, you are clear in your speech. Think through your message before speaking. Write down key points if necessary. Anticipate where misunderstandings may occur and clarify those points proactively. Clear speech is rarely accidental. It is intentional. Practicing how to convey your ideas makes you more confident and effective. People notice when you have thought carefully about your message. Your credibility and influence grow because clarity signals competence. Choosing words that create understanding also involves avoiding ambiguous or confusing terms. Say exactly what you mean. Replace general terms with specific details. Use active verbs and precise nouns. Avoid filler descriptions that add noise rather than meaning. Each word is a tool to transmit knowledge and intention. Words have power. Poorly chosen, words lead to misunderstanding and frustration. Well-chosen words build trust and comprehension. This requires mindfulness and reflection as you speak. Evaluate whether each word advances understanding or obscures it. This attention elevates your communication instantly. Another important element is adapting your speech to the context. Professional meetings, casual conversations, and public speaking events each require slightly different approaches. Adjust vocabulary, sentence length, and examples to suit the audience. What is clear in one setting may be confusing in another. Awareness of context prevents miscommunication. Speaking clearly is not rigid. It is flexible and responsive. The more you observe and adapt, the more your words resonate. People feel understood when you adjust your communication to their frame of reference. Speaking clearly also means managing emotion. Strong feelings can distort words and obscure meaning. Anger, frustration, or excitement can lead to rushed speech or unclear explanations. Awareness of your emotional state allows you to regulate your tone, pace, and word choice. This does not mean suppressing emotions, but controlling them enough to communicate effectively. When you manage emotion, Your message comes across as confident and understandable. People are more receptive when your words reflect control and clarity rather than uncontrolled passion or distraction. Practice is the pathway to mastery. Rehearse difficult explanations out loud. Record your voice to evaluate clarity, pace, and word choice. Read aloud from books or scripts to strengthen pronunciation and control. Speaking clearly is a skill that improves with repetition and attention. Every conversation is an opportunity to refine this skill. The more conscious effort you put into clarity, the more natural it becomes. Your audience experiences the result immediately. They respond with engagement, understanding, and respect. Using questions effectively also enhances understanding. Ask for feedback during your speech. Confirm comprehension with simple questions. This ensures that your words are landing as intended. Misunderstandings often arise when speakers assume clarity without verification. Checking understanding strengthens your message and shows respect for your audience. People respond positively when you actively seek to ensure they comprehend your points. This interactive approach transforms communication from monologue into dialogue. Clear speaking also involves repetition for reinforcement when necessary. Key points should be stated concisely and repeated in different words to strengthen comprehension. This does not mean being redundant, but emphasizing what is critical for understanding. People remember what is reinforced through clear and deliberate expression. Reinforcing key ideas builds retention, comprehension, and trust. This is especially important in professional and educational settings, where clarity affects performance and decision-making. Listening to yourself critically improves clarity over time. Reflect on past conversations. Identify where your speech caused confusion. Consider whether words were precise and sentences structured logically. Adjust based on this reflection. Growth in clear communication is intentional. You improve through awareness, analysis, and practice. People who speak clearly consistently invest in learning from each interaction. Clarity becomes a habit, a default mode of communication, and a key to influence. Finally, speaking clearly and choosing words for understanding is a skill that compounds over time. Each conversation, meeting, and presentation becomes a chance to practice. Every word you choose with intention strengthens your ability to convey ideas. People remember clarity. They respond to clarity. They trust clarity. Over time, clear communication builds a reputation of intelligence, reliability, and influence. The habit of speaking with purpose, precision, and awareness transforms not only how others perceive you, but also how effectively you navigate personal and professional life. Number 3, ask questions to show interest and gain clarity. Asking questions is one of the most powerful tools in communication, yet many people underutilize it. Questions demonstrate that you are engaged and that you value what the other person is saying. When you ask the right questions, you encourage openness and honesty. People naturally respond to curiosity when it is genuine. This is not about interrogation. This is about learning, connecting, and understanding. When you ask questions, you move the conversation from surface-level interaction to meaningful dialogue. You gain insight into thoughts, motivations, and emotions that would otherwise remain hidden. The first step to asking questions effectively is to prepare your mind to listen. Questions should arise naturally from what the other person is saying. You cannot ask meaningful questions if you are distracted or thinking about what you will say next. Focus fully on their words, their tone, and their emotions. Notice pauses, hesitations, and the details they emphasize. These are opportunities to dig deeper with curiosity. Thoughtful questions reflect careful listening. They show respect for the speaker's perspective. The more you listen, the more precise and relevant your questions become. Questions also serve the purpose of clarifying understanding. Miscommunication is one of the biggest barriers in personal and professional relationships. Even small misunderstandings can grow into larger problems over time. By asking questions, you remove uncertainty and confirm comprehension. Ask for explanations when something is unclear. Repeat key points in your own words and ask if you understood correctly. This simple practice prevents confusion and builds trust. People feel valued when you make the effort to understand fully. Your questions demonstrate that their message is important to you. Another important aspect is the type of questions you ask. Open-ended questions are more effective than yes or no questions. Open-ended questions invite explanation, perspective, and detail. They create space for the other person to elaborate. Asking questions like what, how, and why encourages deeper thinking and richer dialogue. Closed questions have their place, but they rarely produce insight, perspective. Thoughtful, open-ended questions allow the conversation to flow naturally and provide you with the clarity and information necessary to respond intelligently. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role when asking questions. Notice the emotional tone of the conversation and adjust your questions accordingly. If someone is frustrated or upset, asking in a gentle, empathetic manner increases the likelihood of a sincere response. If someone is excited, you can ask questions that encourage them to share more details. Emotions influence how people respond. By observing and adjusting your approach, your questions become more effective. Your ability to navigate emotion with curiosity demonstrates awareness, empathy, and skill in communication. Questions also signal respect and humility. They communicate that you do not assume knowledge. You are showing that you value the other person's insight and experience. People respond positively to humility. They're more likely to share openly when they feel respected. Avoid questions that are judgmental or leading. Focus on genuine curiosity. Your goal is to understand, not to challenge unnecessarily. The way you frame your questions impacts how people perceive you. Thoughtful questions strengthen relationships and create mutual respect. Asking questions encourages learning. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to expand knowledge. You gain perspective, see problems differently, and discover ideas you would not have encountered. Otherwise, learning is at the heart of growth, and questions are the vehicle for it. The more you ask, the more you understand. This creates confidence in your communication because you are not relying on assumptions. You are engaging with facts, opinions, and insight from real dialogue. Each question is a step toward mastery of understanding people and ideas. Timing is critical when asking questions. Interrupting or asking at the wrong moment can disrupt the flow of conversation. Observe pauses, natural breaks, and emotional cues. Ask questions when they feel organic and relevant. Timing demonstrates social awareness and consideration. People are more likely to answer honestly. Poor timing can create defensiveness or confusion. Effective communicators notice these subtle cues and adjust. The question itself is important, but when you ask it significantly impacts the response you receive. Clarity in your questions is just as important as clarity in your speech. A confusing or poorly phrased question creates uncertainty. Make sure your questions are simple, direct, and easy to understand. Avoid multi-part questions that require mental gymnastics. Each question should address a single point clearly. People respond better to clear questions because they do not have to guess your intent. You gain precise answers, and the conversation stays focused. This clarity strengthens trust and ensures that your interaction is productive and valuable for both parties. Observation improves your questions. Watch body language, tone, and facial expressions. These cues provide information that enhances your questioning strategy. If someone looks unsure, Ask clarifying questions to encourage elaboration. If someone shows excitement or pride, ask questions that allow them to share more. Observing and adapting ensures that your questions align with the speaker's state and the conversation's needs. This level of awareness elevates your communication from ordinary to exceptional. Your questions are no longer just words. They become instruments of connection and understanding. Questions also demonstrate engagement in long-term relationships. In professional settings, consistently asking thoughtful questions builds credibility. In personal relationships, it shows attentiveness and care. People remember those who ask with genuine interest. Questions communicate that you are present and invested. They create opportunities for dialogue and collaboration. Engagement through questions strengthens bonds and builds rapport. Over time, this practice establishes you as someone who listens, understands, and contributes meaningfully to every interaction. Self-awareness enhances questioning. Understand your own intentions before asking a question. Are you asking to learn, to impress? Questions motivated by curiosity and understanding produce better results than questions motivated by ego. Reflect on why you are asking and adjust your approach. Your intent influences how the question is received. Genuine, thoughtful questions inspire openness and trust. They create dialogue that is productive, enlightening, and emotionally positive. Your presence in the conversation becomes more impactful when questions are asked from a place of awareness. Using follow-up questions strengthens communication further. One question is rarely sufficient for complete understanding. Listen to the initial response and ask additional questions to explore details. This demonstrates that you are not passively listening. You are actively engaged. Follow-ups allow you to confirm comprehension, explore perspectives, and encourage elaboration. They transform ordinary exchanges into rich, informative conversations. Follow-up questions show persistence, focus, and genuine interest. People respond to consistency and care in communication. It signals that you value the conversation and the relationship. Questions also promote critical thinking. When you ask someone to explain reasoning or provide examples, you encourage analysis and reflection. This elevates the quality of conversation and understanding. People enjoy opportunities to think deeply when they are supported by thoughtful inquiry. Your questions can guide others to articulate their ideas more clearly. This skill is particularly valuable in leadership, teaching, and mentoring. Questions not only gain clarity for you, but also help others process and communicate their own thoughts effectively. Silence is your ally when asking questions. After posing a question, allow space for reflection. People often need time to formulate responses. Resist the urge to fill the silence with additional words. The pause demonstrates patience and confidence. It shows that you value the response and are willing to wait. Silence creates the conditions for thoughtful answers. Over time, people learn that your questions are worth engaging with because you give them the space to respond meaningfully. The habit of asking questions transforms your mindset. You shift from assuming knowledge to seeking understanding. This promotes humility, curiosity, and learning. You approach interactions with openness instead of defensiveness. People sense this mindset in your words and energy. They are more likely to share honestly and thoroughly. Asking questions becomes a strategy for building trust, gaining insight, and deepening connections. Over time, this approach elevates your personal and professional communication to a level few achieve. Effective questioning also involves balance. Avoid asking too many questions in rapid succession. Space them naturally within the conversation. Allow answers to be fully expressed before moving to the next inquiry. Over-questioning can feel like interrogation and reduce openness. Strategic, well-timed questions maintain flow and encourage natural dialogue. This approach strengthens clarity, engagement, and trust. People respond to your questions more thoughtfully when they are asked with consideration and patience. Empathy enhances the quality of your question. When you consider the perspective and emotions of the person you are speaking with, your questions become more relevant and meaningful. Questions that reflect understanding of the other person's experience increase receptiveness. Empathy also helps you anticipate areas where clarification or elaboration is needed. Your ability to combine curiosity with compassion transforms communication from transactional to relational. People feel respected and valued when your questions arise. From genuine care, asking questions to gain clarity prevents misinterpretation. Many conflicts, mistakes, and frustrations arise from assuming understanding. By seeking clarity proactively, you ensure that both parties are aligned. You demonstrate responsibility and attention to detail. People appreciate when you take the effort to confirm understanding. This proactive approach reduces errors and builds credibility. Every question asked for clarity is an investment in accuracy and trust. It strengthens the quality of decisions, collaborations, and interactions. Finally, asking questions signals leadership and engagement. Leaders who ask thoughtful questions inspire dialogue, reflection, and participation. Team members feel empowered to share ideas when they know questions are welcomed and valued. Questions create influence because they guide understanding, foster learning, and encourage collaboration. People respond positively to curiosity expressed through questioning. Asking with intention, empathy, and clarity elevates every conversation and sets the standard for effective, meaningful communication. Number 4, observe body language and respond with mindful actions. Communication is not just about the words we speak. Most of what people understand comes from what they see. Body language conveys emotions, intentions, and attitudes more clearly than verbal explanations. Observing body language requires careful attention to posture, gestures, facial expressions, and even subtle shifts in energy. When you notice these signals, you gain insight into how someone is feeling beyond the words they are saying. This awareness allows you to respond in ways that are thoughtful, respectful. Being mindful in response ensures that your actions align with the situation and the emotional needs of the people you are communicating with. The first step in observing body language is to train your attention. People give continuous signals through movement, stance, and facial expression. Are they leaning forward or pulling back? Are their eyes focused or wandering? Are their hands tense or relaxed? Each of these observations communicates unspoken information. When you notice these cues, you gain an understanding that words alone cannot provide. You can respond in ways that encourage engagement, comfort, or clarification depending on the context. Mindfulness requires that you remain fully present and absorb every detail without distraction. Reading body language allows you to sense emotions in real time. Happiness, frustration, curiosity, or discomfort can all be expressed non-verbally. When you notice these emotions, you can adapt your communication accordingly. For instance, if someone seems hesitant or tense, you can slow your pace, speak more gently, or ask clarifying questions. If someone is excited and engaged, you can match their energy to maintain connection. Responding to body language creates a feedback loop that enhances mutual understanding. People feel seen, valued, and respected when you act with awareness. Mindful responses also prevent miscommunication. Words can be misinterpreted, but when paired with attention to body language, your understanding becomes more accurate. If a person says one thing but their posture or facial expression suggests another, you have the opportunity to clarify before misunderstandings escalate. This proactive approach demonstrates emotional intelligence and social skill. It shows that you are attuned not just to words, but to the total message being communicated. Acting mindfully in response reinforces trust and fosters stronger relationships. Body language observation improves your leadership and influence. Leaders who notice nonverbal signals can guide conversations effectively, prevent conflict, and build rapport. Recognizing discomfort or confusion allows a leader to pause, explain, or provide reassurance. Observing enthusiasm or agreement allows encouragement and affirmation to flow naturally. Mindful responses based on body language create an environment of psychological safety, where people feel heard and understood. This builds loyalty, collaboration, and productivity in both personal and professional settings. Responding mindfully requires balance. Avoid overreacting to every gesture or expression. Not every movement indicates deep meaning. Observe patterns rather than isolated actions. Combine what you see with what you hear and what you know about the person. This holistic approach ensures that your responses are accurate, respectful, and effective. Acting thoughtfully rather than impulsively strengthens credibility and shows maturity in your communication. People naturally feel more comfortable and open around someone who notices them and responds appropriately. Mindfulness in action includes adapting your own body language to complement the interaction. Your posture, facial expressions, and gestures signal attentiveness, empathy, and understanding. Mirror subtle elements of the other person's body language to build rapport and connection. This does not mean imitation, but alignment in energy and presence. People respond to congruence between verbal and nonverbal communication. When your words match your body language, your message becomes more believable and compelling. Observing others helps you adjust your presence consciously for effective communication. Facial expressions are particularly important in interpreting meaning. Eyes communicate focus, interest, and sincerity. A smile conveys warmth and openness, while a frown may indicate concern or disagreement. Micro-expressions often reveal emotions that words cannot. By noticing these, you can respond with sensitivity and appropriateness. A simple acknowledgement of a perceived emotion can shift the dynamic positively. When people feel emotionally recognized, they become more engaged, open, and willing to collaborate. Mindful observation of facial cues creates connection at a deeper level. Gestures and movement also convey critical information. Hands can indicate nervousness, confidence, or emphasis. Posture communicates engagement or detachment. Shifts in weight, foot movement, and arm positioning all reveal attention and emotional state. Observing these behaviors allows you to adjust your communication style in real time. For example, if someone crosses their arms, you may choose to adopt a more relaxed stance and encourage dialogue. Being mindful of these subtle signals enhances the effectiveness of every interaction. Listening to tone and voice is part of observing nonverbal cues. Pitch, volume, and pace reveal emotions, emphasis, and intent. A calm, steady tone suggests control, while a rising pitch may indicate excitement or uncertainty. Observing these nuances allows you to respond in alignment with the speaker's emotional state. Mindful action involves adjusting your approach to match the mood, maintain rapport, and encourage clarity. Tone and body language together provide a complete picture of what someone is communicating beyond words alone. Observing body language also helps in detecting discomfort or disengagement. People may verbally agree while their body signals disagreement or hesitation. Recognizing these cues allows you to pause and inquire respectfully. Asking clarifying questions or changing your approach demonstrates awareness and sensitivity. People feel more respected when they are allowed to express themselves fully without pressure. Mindful response to nonverbal signals prevents misinterpretation and strengthens trust between communicators. Practice is critical to mastering observation and mindful response. Start with casual interactions and notice subtle movements and expression. Pay attention to gestures, posture, and tone without overanalyzing. With consistent practice, interpreting these signals becomes more intuitive. Mindful responses become automatic, and your overall communication improves. People notice attentiveness and respond positively to it. The ability to read body language accurately enhances understanding, empathy, and influence in every situation. Observation is also enhanced by awareness of cultural differences. Different cultures express emotions and meaning through distinct gestures and body language. Be sensitive to these differences when interpreting nonverbal communication. Avoid assumptions and seek understanding through context and questioning. Mindful response in these situations requires patience, respect, and curiosity. Adjusting your interpretation based on cultural awareness ensures that your communication remains accurate and effective. This level of mindfulness sets effective communicators apart from those who rely solely on verbal cues. Mindful actions include responding immediately, but thoughtfully, to observe signals. If someone appears confused, slow your explanation or rephrase your point. If someone shows agreement, reinforce their input with acknowledgement or affirmation. If someone appears anxious, adopt a softer tone and offer reassurance. Each adjustment demonstrates engagement and adaptability. People respond to these cues because they feel recognized and understood. Mindful responses based on observation create interactions that are richer, more productive, and emotionally intelligent. The practice of observing and responding extends to group settings as well. In meetings or team discussions, notice who is engaged, who is silent, and who seems distracted. Addressing these cues can create balance and inclusion. Encouraging quieter participants, clarifying misunderstood points, and responding to tension in the room ensures that communication is effective for everyone. Mindful observation in groups strengthens leadership, collaboration, and problem solving. Individuals feel heard and valued when attention is given to their nonverbal signals. Observation improves conflict resolution as well. During disagreements, body language provides insight into unspoken concerns. Recognizing tension, frustration, or anxiety allows you to respond calmly and strategically. Mindful action can diffuse potential escalation by acknowledging emotion and redirecting conversation constructively. Acting without awareness of these signals can worsen misunderstandings and prolong conflict. People are more likely to respond positively when their feelings are recognized and addressed through thoughtful action. Attention to body language also enhances personal relationships. Noticing small gestures, expressions, and movements allows you to respond with care, empathy, and support. This creates intimacy and trust in friendships, family connections, and romantic relationships. People feel emotionally understood when your actions match their needs and emotional state. Mindful observation of body language signals that you value and prioritize the relationship, which strengthens bonds and promotes mutual respect. Finally, observing body language and responding mindfully is a lifelong skill. Each interaction provides an opportunity to practice, learn, and refine your awareness. Over time, you develop intuition in reading nonverbal cues and confidence in your responses. Your ability to respond appropriately increases your effectiveness, influence, and connection with others. People perceive you as empathetic, trustworthy, and competent because your words and actions align with their needs and emotions. Mindful communication, rooted in observation, transforms ordinary dialogue into meaningful, powerful connection. Number 5, practice daily conversations to build confidence and skill. Building strong communication skills requires consistent practice, and there is no substitute for daily engagement. Communication is like a muscle that grows stronger the more it is exercised. Every day presents opportunities to interact with people, from brief exchanges with coworkers to extended conversations with friends or family. By consciously treating each interaction as a chance to practice, you develop confidence in expressing your ideas clearly and effectively. Confidence grows not from occasional effort, but from repeated action. Daily practice allows you to test new approaches, refine your delivery, and observe what resonates with others. This repetition is essential for mastering the skills necessary to connect meaningfully. The first step in daily practice is to set intentional goals for each conversation. At first, determine what you want to improve, whether it is listening more attentively, asking better questions, or speaking with greater clarity. Begin with small, manageable objectives and gradually expand your focus. For instance, you might decide to engage more actively in a meeting by contributing one clear point, or practice asking open-ended questions with a colleague. Purposeful practice ensures that your daily interactions are not merely habitual, but constructive. Each conversation becomes a learning opportunity, allowing you to build skill incrementally while observing your progress over time. Daily conversations also expose you to different personalities and communication styles. Each interaction is unique, and adjusting your approach to fit different people strengthens adaptability. Some people are direct and concise, while others are reflective and detailed. Engaging regularly allows you to recognize these differences and respond appropriately. You learn when to listen patiently, when to assert your ideas, and when to provide clarification. Exposure to varied communication styles develops versatility. The more diverse your practice, the more prepared you are to handle any situation with skill and confidence. Another critical aspect of daily practice is self-reflection. After each conversation, take time to evaluate your performance. Did you express yourself clearly? Did you notice and respond to body language? Did you ask meaningful questions? Reflecting on successes and identifying areas for improvement accelerates growth. Writing brief notes or mentally reviewing interactions creates awareness that sharpens your skills. Reflection ensures that practice is not random, but intentional. Each day, you can refine your methods, eliminate habits that reduce effectiveness, and reinforce techniques that improve communication. Practicing daily conversations reduces fear and hesitation over time. Many people struggle with anxiety or self-consciousness when speaking. Repetition allows these fears to diminish naturally. You build familiarity with the process of dialogue and learn to manage nervousness effectively. Confidence emerges because repeated exposure makes communication feel routine rather than intimidating. You begin to trust your ability to handle unexpected questions or complex discussions. Daily practice trains both your mind and your emotions to remain calm, focused, and present during every interaction. Listening actively should accompany daily conversation practice. Effective communication is two-sided. While speaking and responding are important, observing how others express themselves provides invaluable insight. Notice how people react to your tone, choice of words, and body language. Adjust based on these observations. Each conversation offers feedback that can guide improvement. Combining speaking practice with attentive listening accelerates skill development and builds relationships grounded in understanding. Daily conversations become laboratories for observation, adjustment, and growth. Mindfulness during daily interactions enhances learning. Avoid autopilot mode where words are spoken without awareness. Pay attention to the pace of your speech, clarity of your points, and the engagement level of your audience. Respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Notice subtle cues, such as facial expressions, gestures, or shifts in posture. Mindful practice allows you to adapt dynamically and ensures that every conversation contributes to developing both skill and confidence. Over time, your presence in conversations becomes more deliberate and impactful. Practice also helps in developing adaptability. Conversations rarely go exactly as planned. People interrupt, questions emerge, or topics shift unexpectedly. Regular engagement trains you to respond effectively in unpredictable scenarios. You learn to clarify points, redirect discussions politely, and maintain composure under pressure. Confidence stems from knowing you have encountered similar challenges and navigated them successfully. Before, daily practice reduces the fear of mistakes and equips you with strategies to communicate effectively in real time. Feedback is another powerful component of daily conversation practice. Seek feedback from trusted colleagues, friends, or mentors when possible. Ask questions like what was clear, what was confusing, and how you could improve. Honest feedback illuminates blind spots and provides actionable guidance. Combining practice with feedback accelerates learning exponentially. You are able to identify patterns in your behavior, refine your language, and strengthen your presence. Continuous improvement emerges from the loop of action, observation, and adjustment. Repetition builds fluency in communication. Just as a musician practices scales or an athlete practices drills, repeated conversational engagement makes your speech smoother, faster, and more confident. Daily practice allows words to flow naturally, reducing hesitation or filler language. Clarity improves as you internalize sentence structure, tone modulation, and pacing. You develop intuition for when to pause, emphasize, or elaborate. Repetition fosters automaticity and skill, making effective communication an effortless habit rather than a conscious effort. Practicing daily conversations enhances emotional intelligence. Through consistent engagement, you become more attuned to the emotions, needs, and reactions of others. You learn to sense discomfort, excitement, agreement, or confusion. Recognizing and responding to these cues strengthens empathy and relational intelligence. Daily exposure provides countless opportunities to interpret feelings accurately and act thoughtfully. Your confidence grows not only because of verbal skills, but because you develop a deeper understanding of human behavior and interaction. Using daily conversations to practice also encourages creativity and communication. As you speak regularly, you experiment with different ways of expressing ideas. You learn which words resonate, which phrasing is effective, and how to structure points for maximum clarity. The more you practice, the more versatile your communication becomes. You're able to adapt your approach for different contexts, audiences, and goals. Creativity and expression, combined with confidence and clarity, enhances your ability to persuade, motivate, and influence effectively. Daily practice cultivates resilience. Not every conversation goes perfectly. You may stumble over words, misunderstand points, or receive criticism. By engaging consistently, you learn to recover gracefully. You see errors as learning opportunities rather than failures. Each interaction strengthens your confidence because you know that mistakes are part of the growth process. Over time, resilience develops naturally, enabling you to maintain composure and effectiveness in every conversation, regardless of circumstances. Mindful practice also strengthens listening and questioning skills simultaneously. As you converse daily, you become more adept at asking meaningful questions, clarifying points, and guiding discussions constructively. This dual practice ensures that your communication is not one-sided. You learn to balance speaking and listening, asking and responding. Daily interactions become training ground for all dimensions of effective communication. Skills Skill and confidence compound with repetition and attention to detail. Engaging in conversations every day allows you to explore a variety of topics and contexts. You develop vocabulary, adapt to technical or casual subjects, and refine the way you explain ideas. Exposure to diverse discussions strengthens clarity and precision. You learn to convey complex ideas simply and respond effectively to questions or challenges. Each new topic adds depth to your skill set. Daily practice prevents stagnation and continuously pushes your abilities forward. Consistency is the key to building confidence. Practicing once in a while is not enough to internalize communication skills. Daily engagement makes speaking, listening, and observing natural habits. You begin to trust your instincts in interactions. Confidence grows from familiarity and competence. When you interact every day, you reduce anxiety, improve clarity, and enhance your ability to influence and connect. Skills that are practiced regularly become second nature. Daily practice also builds adaptability to different communication styles. Some people are fast-paced, others slow and reflective. By engaging frequently, you learn to read cues and adjust your approach. You develop sensitivity to tone, timing, and emotional state. This flexibility allows you to connect with a wider range of people and handle diverse scenarios with ease. Confidence is strengthened because you know you can communicate effectively with anyone in any situation. Finally, practicing daily conversations creates a feedback loop that accelerates learning. Speaking, observing reactions, reflecting, and adjusting creates continuous improvement. Over time, you notice growth in clarity, confidence, and presence. Skills that once required effort become automatic. Each day builds cumulative expertise that transforms how you communicate personally, professionally, and socially. Daily conversations are not trivial. They are deliberate exercises that shape mastery, presence, and influence in every aspect of life.